You clicked on the video. You know what we're talking about. Part the Mistveil looks absolutely insane. The expansion slot in this set looks better than any other set prior to it. This set is bonkers nuts, and we gotta talk about it. Hello and welcome to the table, and today I'm going to be talking about Part the Mistveil spoilers. Now, there are cards that I'm not going to be talking about. I'm not going to be talking about the Sacred Arts. I'm not going to be talking about the Chakras. I'm not going to be talking about some of the limited cards, like the Droplets, Rising Tide, that kind of stuff. Or the Bastion, the Battlefront Bastion. I think that's what it is. But yeah, I am not talking about that stuff. I'm just going to be talking about the Chi cards. I'm going to be talking about that Orihun thing that I forgot the name of because I forgot to put that card in the list of cards I was going to talk about. I don't know the name of it, but I know what it does. But then I'm going to be talking about the expansion slot cards as well because that's why you clicked on the video, because the expansion slot looks incredible in this set. But anyways, let's get right into it, starting things off and talking about the Orihun of... because I don't know what the rest of it is. So it's 4 resources for a Mystic Instant. So it doesn't block for anything, but draw 2 cards for 4 resources. That's okay, but if you've pitched a Chi this way, you instead draw 3 resources. That's pretty good. Now, there have been cards that have been printed like this before, like there's one in Light Illusionist that I can't remember the name of either, because, again, I forgot to take the notes. But that card is nuts in Light Illusionist, because you can draw 2 if a thing has gone into the soul, then you get to draw 3, absolutely nuts, and this card is very similar to that. But anyways, let's talk about the Transcend Instance. Now, there's been one that's been spoiled already that I talked about, Preserved Tradition, which is a 0-cost Mystic Instant, so it doesn't block for anything. It's legendary, so you're only limited to 1 copy, and if you've played another blue card this turn, you get to Transcend. So you take this card, you flip it, and now it's a Chi. On the backside, you put that back into your hand, and now you can pitch that for 3 Chi, which can pay for regular costs of stuff, or for Chi abilities, like on the heroes in this set. But then, a bunch of other Transcend Instants got spoiled, like a Drop in the Ocean, which gives the thing -1 power. And again, like the Preserved Tradition, cost 0, Mystic Instant, cares if you play another blue in order to Transcend, and it's legendary. All the Transcend Instants are going to care about this, but they all have their own mana abilities. A Drop in the Ocean, -1 power. A Grain that tips the scale, +1 power. Stir the Pot, shuffles your deck. And we get into some of the more spicy stuff. Passover banishes a card from the opponent's graveyard, which can be pretty good and new. But then there are the main 3 that I think are super spicy. Homage to Ancestors, gain life. That's a fairly good effect. I mean, it's not Sigil of Solace, but I mean, considering the fact that you can get a Chi from this card, yeah, I'm kind of glad that it's not a Sigil of Solace. But then there's Rising Sun, Setting Moon, which draws you a card, and then you get to put a card from your hand on the bottom. So card selection. I've heard that that's pretty good. And then Path Well Traveled. Target attack gets go again. But Path Well Traveled is a super, super good looking card. Easily the best of all of these Transcend Instants, except the Sacred Arts. But still, Path Well Traveled looks super great. Rising Sun, Setting Moon is easily the second best. Homage to Ancestors is also pretty good looking, and Passover looks great. And I think this is kind of like the perfect balance, like 3 to 4, maybe 5 of these Transcend Instants, because again, these don't block for anything, so that's not great, you know? So you don't want to have a ton of these, but considering the fact there are 3 really good ones, the Path Well Traveled, Rising Sun, Setting Moon, and Homage to Ancestors, but if you're playing new, most likely you're going to play something like Passover instead, but then the Sacred Arts. Now, I feel like, personally, what I think it's going to be, like, the ratios of stuff, or what cards are going to be run. In Enigma, I think it's going to be Homage, Path Well Traveled, Rising Sun, Setting Moon, and her Sacred Art. I feel like in New, it's going to be all the same cards, except instead of Homage to Ancestors, and the Enigma Sacred Art, it's going to be her Sacred Art and Passover. And in Zen, it's probably going to be the Sacred Art and the Rising Sun, Setting Moon, and Path Well Traveled. But still, these cards look super good, and the rest of these Transcend Instants just look like super good limited cards that allow you to Transcend more often. But yeah, these Transcend cards look absolutely awesome, and it just shows how good Transcend is looking to be, because Chi is pretty good, and some of these effects on the more powerful ones are pretty good alongside it, not gonna lie. And these are commons, by the way. Like, what? I mean, they're legendaries, I get it, but still, what? But then we get to the expansion slot cards. So, there were a lot of cards that got spoiled. The first two are kind of like, they're not super good cards. They make their heroes a little bit better, but they don't put them over the top or make them competitively viable still. But Eloquent Eulogy, there we go, is a 1-for-4, and it's got rune gates, and then when the combat chain closes, you create an amount of eloquence tokens equal to the amount of heroes that Lawful Ice's turn. Yeah, I didn't say it right, but that doesn't really matter. The main thing that matters is that it's a 1-for-4 of rune gate. That's pretty good in Vin's set. It doesn't put her over the top or make her competitively viable, but it makes her deck a little bit more consistent and a bit better. But then there's Murky Water, which is a 2-for-6. Again, it can only be played from Arsenal because it's an arrow attack. But if it has an aim counter on it, it gets +1 power and Dominate, which is pretty good. And if it hits, which is what makes the Dominate pretty good, you get to banish 3 random cards from your 3 random traps, from your graveyard, and you get to put one of them into your arsenal, which is pretty good at random. But that's okay. Again, doesn't put Riptide over the top, but it makes his deck a little bit more consistent and better. But then we got the other 2 cards. They're kind of like the meh cards. I'm not exactly sure where my opinions lie on them just yet. The first one being Lawn Draw Half Glove, which is a 1 Battle Worn equipment, and it's an arm piece in Rangers. It's a pretty good card. I wouldn't say it's better than the Bullseye Bracers, because, I mean, the effect is better, and it has Arcane Barrier 1, which I value that slightly more than a 1 Battle Worn. But this has an instant speed effect of taking 2 cards from your hand and or arsenal, putting them on the bottom, and giving your next attack this turn +4 power. Now, here's the thing. Filtering your arsenal in Rangers is a very good effect, because in Azalea's case, since she's the only real competitive Ranger right now, it is pretty good to get some of those non-attacks out of the arsenal in order to Death Dealer in an arrow attack. But I just don't think that this card is that great, necessarily. I don't know. This card doesn't seem wonderful. I think it's a good sideboard option, potentially, but I don't think it's better than Bullseye Bracers. I just think that Bullseye Bracers, there's a reason that this card has always been good in Rangers, and it's pretty much always been the arm slot in Rangers. So yeah, I don't know. But then we got Visit the Golden Anvil. Now this card, I have some interesting opinions on this, because a lot of people say this card's good, some people say this card's meh, some people say this card is bad. I'm leaning more towards the side of meh to bad, because it's a 0 cost, doesn't have Go Again, which, it's not great. But this has the most unique effect in the entire game of Flesh and Blood right now. Because as an initial cost to play this, you sacrifice X gold. And then you get to equip that many equipment and or weapons from your inventory. So you get to take cards from your inventory and slot them into play, which is very interesting. But, I mean, in order to really take advantage of this, your equipment has to be blown up and you don't have a weapon anymore? That's interesting. But this card, the main thing that I think makes it a bit spicy is like you have something like a Crown of Providence or a Temper Head, and you got a bunch of Temper equipment or Blade Break and that kind of stuff, right? And you block with all of that, and then in the late game you play this, and then boom, brand new suite of equipment. Like you have a second Crown of Providence in the inventory, you have a second Courage of whatever that card is called. But basically you have a second copy of each of the equipment that you have in the main deck in the inventory, to where in the late game you can play Visit the Golden Anvil, and then just boom, get a brand new suite of equipment. That is the only way that I can really see this card being good. But I just don't know if Olympia is going to get that late into the game unless the deck becomes super grindy, which maybe that's what this card turns the deck into. But I'm not sure. This card's very interesting. And again, leave a comment down below as to what your thoughts are on this card, because I just don't think this card's great. It's very meh, but I don't know. But then we got the next card, which is another visit. This time to the Goldmane Estate. Now this visit is way more busted, because at 1 resource, this has a Go Again, non-attack action, that's a Victor specialization, and that's not legendary. You can have 3 copies of this BS. Yeah. So what you do is, for 1 resource, you get to create a gold. Okay, so you immediately get to just pitch it blue, play this, and then you got 2 floating, and you have the same amount of cards in hand minus the pitch. That's okay. And you get to create an amount of might tokens equal to the number of gold you control. And oh, by the way, that gold can be used to fix your clashes because of Victor. So that's fun. This card just seems a little bit good. This card, I feel like, is very good in Victor, and leave a comment down below as to tell me your thoughts on it. But then we got Shadow Realm Horror, which is probably the spiciest card out of all the expansion slot cards that have been printed so far, because it is going to be guaranteed played in every single Levia deck ever. Because it is a 2-cost, 6 attack. As an additional cost, banish 3 random cards from your graveyard. If 1 card with 6 or more power was banished this way, this attack gets +1 power. If 2 or more were banished this way, then this card gets Go Again. If 3 or more with 6 or more power were banished this way, then you get to take a random card from among those cards, and you get to play this turn. Shadow Realm Horror can allow you to have turns that you wouldn't normally, because the fact that this can be a 2 for 7 with Go Again a lot of the time, that in and of itself is very good, and makes a certain card in the deck that I can't remember the name of, like, instantly go away and is replaced with this card. But the fact that some of the time this can allow you to get another card and then just be able to play that card allows you to do lines that you couldn't normally. And allows you to block more and save your life total a bit more, because that can matter in Levia a lot. And allow you to play the same, like, have the same amount of power in a turn just because of this card. So yeah, this card just seems very powerful, and honestly, like, Ethan Van Sant himself said, we don't really need this card as a Levia player, but I'll take it, because he knows Levia is pretty good right now, and this card is absolutely insane in Levia, and I feel like Levia will just be a much better and more consistent deck because of this card. So anyways, with all that aside, make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. It's completely free, you won't regret it. There will be more spoiler videos coming up in the future, because I think more cards are going to be spoiled next weekend, maybe the weekend after, I'm not sure yet, because school is being fun right now. But I think there are 6 cards that are going to be spoiled next weekend. I'll do some spoiler reviews on those cards in the next Table Talk, maybe a couple of weeks later, I'm not exactly sure yet. But I hope that you enjoyed this video. Again, make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. It's completely free, you won't regret it. And enjoy, everybody.